what really stands out for you in Argentina? Why Argentina over other South American countries, or even, like you said, you spent some time out
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia. Why Argentina?
Yeah, it's and there's no right answer to it. It's when you get a feeling, you get a feeling. What Argentina does have, you get hints of Italian influence, you get hints of Spanish, hints of German. Uh, you get all these little pieces, even French influences here. So you get a little bit of everything. You get really good food, really good wine. Generally, it's a nice, moderate kind of temperature. Really nice people. It's affordable.
Okay, so today we are heading down to the beautiful country of Argentina with my friend Brian McQuay. McQuay, Brian, how you doing, buddy?
Living the dream. How are you?
You are living the dream in one of the
Yeah.
most sensational cities in the world, Buenos Aires. We're
Yep.
going to talk about that and break down the cost of living there. There's been a lot that's changed since we last talked. You and I
Yes.
spoke about a year ago. So,
Yeah, I beat that. Yeah.
yeah, so Brian, let's just start out by you giving a bit of backstory about who you are, where you're from, and how you landed in Buenos
Mhm.
Aires.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. So yeah, I came to Buenos Aires around December 2021, right after the pandemic. I'm originally from Canada, but I've kind of lived abroad over the years, several years in New Zealand, Australia, spending months at a time in Thailand. So this wasn't kind of my first venture out. And originally it was going to be a 6 week, maybe 7 week trip. Go to Mendoza, drink some wine, eat some food, kind of enjoy the summer because we're the opposite season than Canada. And that turned into several months. I met a girl. And then about a year and a half ago is when I decided to sell my place and move down here full time. Before that, I was working in the film industry, so I'd go back to Canada, I'd do a movie for a month or two, fly back, be here, go return, and kind of go back and forth, pick up my air
Mhm.
miles, and then yeah, I finally decided to call it quits and
Yeah.
retire here.
Very cool. All right. So you sold everything, packed up, and just headed out.
Yeah, just came with a suitcase basically.
Well, so tell us, in your opinion, because the viewers that are watching, what really stands out for you in Argentina? Why Argentina over other South American countries, or even, like you said, you spent some time out
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia. Why Argentina?
Yeah, it's and there's no right answer to it. It's when you get a feeling, you get a feeling. What Argentina does have, it is, I'm a city guy. I'm a concrete warrior. So you do have a large metropolis. You get hints of Italian influence. You get hints of Spanish, hints of German. Uh, you get all these little pieces, even French influences here. So you get a little bit of everything. You get really good food, really good wine, generally good weather. We do
Mhm.
have a little bit in the winter where it can get quite chilly, and we do have about 4 to 6 weeks in the summer where it's kind of unbearably hot when kind of
Yeah.
most people leave the city. But other than that, generally it's a nice, moderate kind of temperature. Really nice people. It's affordable. I know we'll talk about that and how the affordability's changed, but if you're coming in with US dollars, it's still an affordable place to live, and bang for your buck of what you're getting is great.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I like how you said, it's kind of like the vibe you got there. I mean, you spent some time in various places, but you just really feel like you connect. And it's really a lot of
Yeah,
times for travelers, you can have this dream of a specific place and you
yeah,
go there, and then you go to three or four different places that maybe you never even really thought of, and you really love it and you find that you really connect there. Yeah, it's pretty.
yeah. And we were talking during the holidays, and I was over in Thailand because I was thinking maybe should I pack up and move to Thailand.
Mhm.
And I was there 8 years prior, and I was whether it's my age or where I was in life, I thought it was amazing. And then just going back a little bit older, it had a different appeal to me that just didn't really engage as much. And when we're talking about like different vibes and different things, the one thing I do love about the city is it is very neighborhood based and kind of like New York City.
Yeah.
Some people love parts of the Bronx, some people like Manhattan, some people love different areas because you have that kind of community, that vibe, that feel. So coming down here, whatever kind of personality you have, whatever you look for, there is a neighborhood that meets that aspect of it.
Brian, do you find that people that you are neighbors with that just live around your community, are they are they engaging? Thinking about moving abroad? Adventure Freaks is packed with resources to help you every step of the way. Want immigration support? We connect you with experts who understand the process inside and out, giving you the most up-to-date, reliable information. No more sifting through outdated websites or confusing embassy pages. You can click on the country you're interested in and scroll down and see our helpful links here. Here's immigration and visas, which will connect you with an immigration lawyer in that country. Curious about life abroad? Talk to expats who've already made the move, all of which we've done podcasts with on our YouTube channel. Whether it's day-to-day living or navigating local bureaucracy, they've been there and can share their firsthand experience. You can also book a one-on-one consultation with me. I've spoken with hundreds of expats and professionals around the world, and I'm here to help you navigate the process and find the right destination for you. Not sure where to go? Our ideal destination finder can help. Answer 20 simple questions and discover the top 3 countries that match your lifestyle and priorities, all based on your answers. Plus, you can dive into our helpful articles covering everything from finding housing to understanding healthcare abroad. AdventureFreaks.com makes it easy to get the answers you need straight from the source. If you're ready to start your journey, we're here to help.
Yeah, so when you're in certain areas, like Palermo is the most common area for expats to go to, and you go to your coffee shops and it's the same people hanging out because everyone's going to go to their coffee shop to the lake within a block.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have kind of a very bodega style system for groceries. You're going to smaller little corner markets for your vegetables, another butcher for that, and you get to know everybody. Like I know my
Mm-hmm.
butcher by name. I know one of the women in the bodega well, and we say hi. So yeah, you kind of get that very communal feel here.
Yeah, do neighbors talk? I mean, the people that you live next to, I mean, do you say hello? How are you? Do you get to know them? Because when I lived in New York City,
Yeah,
neighbors don't talk. For the most part, people just don't,
yeah,
they don't engage. It was it's a thing in New York City. I think that was my experience where, and many others, where you just kind of live next door to people and you don't even say hello. And you can live next door to
yeah,
these people that you can hear through your walls in the apartment and you haven't
yeah.
talked to them in 5 years. And it's just the
Um,
reality of New York. So I'm wondering, is it, Buenos Aires is a very large city and a lot of
yeah.
people live very similarly to like New York. Is it like that? Or do people seem
Yeah,
to?
no, I think it's like that. And again, I live in apartments, so generally you don't get to know the people in your building very well. I think that's just kind of a normal thing. It might be a little bit different out in the suburbs
Mhm.
um, than others. And then I think too, when you get into buildings that have a lot of renters, you tend not to know. So one of my friends that owns in a building and newly developed, and I think he knows everybody, but they're all principal owners, so it's a little bit of a different
Mhm.
atmosphere than just the renter market.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that, Brian. Well, let's dive into the visa requirements, getting there. What do
Mhm.
people need to do to
Yeah,
become a resident of Argentina?
yeah. So I'm not the expert on it. We'll talk about how I do it, but generally the couple ways of getting into this country. Obviously, marriage is always one. If you open up a business here, they have a visa process so that if you open up a business here, and they have certain requirements that a lawyer can deal with. You can come on a retirement visa if you bring in X amount of dollars, and that number changes. So I don't want to quote a number and then someone assume that's it. It's
Okay.
but I believe it's around 900 US a month you need to bring in. So not a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
It might be even less. It might be less. The way that I do it, which is very, very common, is you fly on a 90-day tourist visa, and there is no requirement to leave within the 90 days. Your
Hmm.
only requirement is to pay a $40 fine when you do leave for your overstay. And that's a $40 one time fee, whether you overstay 1 day or 1 year or 10 years, which I've paid for. It's very, very simple. No one bats an eye at it. You're not getting in, a customs guy pulling you aside asking why you're doing it.
Hmm.
That's what a lot of people do. The disadvantage to doing it that way is that I can't get what's called a DNI, which is a government ID number. Opening up a bank, there are certain limitations with doing
Okay.
it that way. I'm kind of in the process right now. I was talking with a lawyer to get my residency. Um, and the biggest issue was last year with the new government. It was causing massive delays. There was some uncertainties with some of the application processes, and they said hold off. And the other big thing was if you apply when you're out of the country, it's only a couple weeks, it's a few weeks to actually get your residency stuff done. If
Hmm.
you live inside the country, you can still do it. It just they're saying could be 7, or sorry, I think they say 9, 10 months application time. At which point you can't leave the country. It restarts the process. So with me going to Asia and I got some other trips planned, it becomes I have to be stuck here for a year. Not necessarily the worst thing to be stuck. It's not like I'm being stuck in
Yeah,
jail, but
yeah. Yeah,
you
well,
know,
you could spend half your time in Patagonia, then come back
yeah,
up and explore some of those smaller, beautiful, quaint towns down there as well. All
yeah,
right, so basically you're doing the 90-day visa and then you're staying and then you can stay as
yeah,
long as you want and then there's just a fine that you're charged when you fly out and come back.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you can pursue um, residency through that process
Yeah,
when
so being here, I can apply for I can apply for residency while I'm here and still being an overstayer.
Okay. So it
Yeah.
looks, are they looking into your income that you bring in per month? Any of that when you do it the 90 day and stay over?
No. Yeah, there are only two questions when I come in for the 90 days is what was your flight number and what address are you staying at? Are
Okay.
literally the only two questions they generally ask.
Now,
When I exited, because you go to customs when you do your exit, or I think it's called not customs, passport control. And I handed him a form. He just looked at it, smiled, said I had a good flight. That was it.
yeah. Okay. So, and a
Yeah.
lot of people I know are looking to get dual citizenship and they're looking for that
Yeah.
pathway to citizenship. If you do this 90-day overstay, is there a pathway to citizenship?
No.
There
No,
isn't.
no, there isn't. So the overstaying for the 90 days, I do not believe counts for any days. It's from the lawyer I've spoken to, there's no hindrance on it. Um, and just by nature, if you landed within and you did it within the first 90 days, because it takes 10 months, just by nature, you'd become an overstayer because you
Hmm.
can't leave
Right.
during that process. Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a loophole. It's not one of their concerns and things. They kind of have an ideology that they're all immigrants to this land from long ago.
Yeah.
So they have a different ideology than probably what a lot of people in North America think.
Sure. Okay. All
Yeah,
right, great information. All right, thanks for that.
yeah,
Okay, so since we talked too, you guys have a new president down there, Malay,
yeah,
and he is really changing things up.
yeah,
And he is really somewhat of a international kind of star. He's really connected with certain people. So my question is how is he being received? I know that inflation has jumped dramatically, and I've heard that prices have gone up significantly. So Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about how he's being received right now.
Yeah. What he has done with the inflation is still really, really high, but it's now become less variable and it's more fixed.
Okay.
Um, yeah. What's kind of happened in inflation was we had this peso run for many times when one US dollar was worth 100 pesos, and then it was 200, and then it was 1,000 pesos to one US dollar. But coming with American money, the price of a good that was one US dollar was still approximately one US dollar.
Mhm.
It was just the amount of pesos that you had to give to purchase it. Now, what we're getting is inflation where that item that was one US dollar is now $1.50. So
Okay.
it's kind of hurting in that regard. But the inflation has become quite stable. I
Okay.
remember where inflation was going up 30% in 2 weeks and then kind of leveling off.
Yeah.
We still have the price is still variable, but it's quite more fixed than what it was a year, 2 years ago.
Okay. And how do the people
Yeah.
of Argentina, how are they receiving him? I mean, have you looked at any of the polls of his favorability or?
Yeah, so I can't remember what he won by. It was not razor thin. He did win with the majority, but it still comes down to a 50-50. Half people like him
Okay.
and voted for him, half people don't.
Okay.
Um, the one thing he did say was that the country's going to hurt a lot before it gets better.
Yeah.
Unemployment has gone up, homelessness has gone up, costs
Mm.
have gone up. And some people are willing to accept that. A lot of people have gone well below the poverty line
Yeah.
and are really suffering, whether or not they're still in support and they're looking at the better future. But I think what was happening before Milei was that people really did not, especially younger people, just thought the only way of becoming successful or the only way of becoming happy is leaving Argentina. Like
Hmm.
that was your only goal, was to getting out. And I think from friends that I've talked to and a lot of locals that I know, there's more hope than there
Okay.
was before. But again, it's politics. Whether or
Yeah.
not the love for him still exists in another year, hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a beautiful country and an incredible culture. So I really do hope that they're on the right track because
Yeah,
it's always been a special place in my heart, and it's one of the places,
yeah,
like I said, when I come down, which is going to be probably pretty soon, we can go out for a beer and check out some of the areas of the neighborhood.
yeah,
So
yeah.
with all that said, what are rentals going for now? I mean, have you seen a significant increase in rentals? Give us an idea of what they are, what you can find something in the Buenos Aires area, in a decent area. What do they start out at?
Yeah, so rentals have stayed quite flat, but I think there was a huge hike about a year ago, and they realized the market can't bear this, so they've kind of leveled off. So I would say for like a one-bedroom furnished apartment in Buenos Aires, in one of the main kind of areas, people should be planning for about $500 to $700 would be the range
Okay.
for one bedroom furnished. That usually comes with internet, water, and then your out of pocket electricity. And this is where the kicker has been. Electricity in a one bedroom apartment was, before deregulation, maybe $30 to $40 a month. I'm now over $100 a month.
Okay.
I think last month was about 115. Now I do have a large apartment. I do have like kind of a two-story loft. But I would say that from people I've talked to, their electricity's kind of doubled.
Okay. So you're paying about $100 a month in electricity now.
Yeah.
Okay. How big is your place?
Uh, it's a 74 square meters. So I think that would put it around 700 or 800 square feet,
Yeah.
somewhere in
Okay.
that.
So
Yeah.
how much larger is yours than the typical? apartment in Buenos Aires? Is it much larger? Or is that a standard?
No, it's the average apartment I would say is running between 45 and 55 square feet.
Okay.
So I'm probably, 40-50% larger.
Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing, would you say that these slightly smaller apartments maybe pay $80 a month in electricity?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say, yeah, 60 to $80. Obviously, summertime when we have the AC running full blast, it will be up, but that's usually 4 to 6 weeks that we have the unbearable hot weather.
Right. Water, internet is included.
Yeah,
Is there gas there?
yeah. My place doesn't, but a lot of places do have gas. A lot of
Okay.
times that's included in rent.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Or what they'll just do is they'll say approximate bills and you may pay them, but they'll when you're looking for apartments, they'll usually tell you what the approximate bills are for that thing.
And
Yeah.
Brian, you pay
Yeah.
how big you said it's about 800 square feet your
Yeah.
apartment. You mentioned
Yeah.
before it's a loft. It's like a two-story.
Yeah. Yeah. Two-story
Yeah.
loft.
Okay.
So
So you
yeah.
got
So
quite a
it's
place. How much is that per month?
that's 800 a month.
Okay, so you got a really good deal.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
I did.
what neighborhood is that?
So I'm in Recoleta, right near the
Okay.
cemetery. So I'm in a
Okay.
really good area. But the thing that I do give up in my place is it's a small building. There's no pool. There's no gym room. There's no meeting area. So I give that up for square footage.
So that just means you have to go outside and run, and then you got to get on the floor and
Yeah,
do push-ups.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Every day, 100 push-ups. Yeah,
Okay, so there's a few neighborhoods, even upcoming neighborhoods. What
yeah.
neighborhoods would you recommend for the viewers to look at when pursuing Buenos Aires as an option to live in?
Yeah, so there is on the subway stations, subway map, there's the D line. It's green, and that basically is Recoleta. It goes, I think it goes to the edge of San Telmo, but mainly Recoleta, Belgrano, and Palermo. So if someone was coming here, I would say stick to the green line, stick to anything that's a 4 to 5 minute walk to the station, one of the stations, and you're pretty much in a good area.
Okay. There's a place called
Yeah,
Chacarita or something like that, or Chaca,
yeah,
and there's another real colorful area,
yeah. Sorry, no. You're talking about La Boca. It's a really colorful area.
La Boca. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So great place to visit. Issue with living there is it's far out from everything, and
Okay.
then the area around the tourist area is not that great.
I see.
So yeah, not necessarily recommended. There's another really well-off area called Puerto Madero, but that's highly expensive. Uh, Not really an area. And if you're coming down with no budget, it's great. But other than that, it's not a good one.
Sure.
There's Villa Crispo, which is kind of the hippie, trendy coffee shop area, which is a very, very good one. I mean, outside of that area, there are tons of great areas. But for someone coming from the first time, I would kind of recommend staying along that D line, the Belgrano, Palermo, Recoleta, kind of get your footing, and then spend a year if you're coming here full time. Spend a year, find the area that's good for you, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing Chacarita is by this,
Yeah,
looks like a big park. Mausoleum Carlos Gardel, and
yeah,
it's not far from Palermo. I hear it's kind of by
yeah.
Via
Yeah, the
Crespo,
area,
and
I know which area you're thinking about. Yeah, it's kind of on the fringes of Palermo. It'd be the east of Palermo. Yeah, no, it is a good area. There's no doubt about it. I go there sometimes for an asado with a friend in that
uh-huh.
area. So yeah, no, and you are actually when you start getting off the D line, you do start saving some money. I lived in an area called Parque Chaz, which was great. It
Hmm.
was a little more quiet. Definitely, you need to know a little bit of Spanish because finding people that speak English there becomes a little less likely. But yeah, I had a great time.
Well,
Everything was 15% cheaper.
yeah. Well, that's the great thing about Buenos Aires
Yeah,
too, is that you're going to really immerse yourself in speaking Spanish because there's just not a lot of people that travel
yeah,
to Argentina like they do Spain or like they do
yeah,
Mexico. You know, there's
yeah.
always somebody pulling you back into English in Mexico or Spain because everybody speaks English there, but it's a very different world in Argentina. So if you're really interested in learning Spanish quickly, it's probably the ideal place to move to.
Yeah, and it is still. I mean, if you're in this, if you go to anything service based, if you go into a restaurant, usually they'll know basic enough English to do that. If you're in a shop, there's a chance one of the five people speaks basic English. We're
Mhm.
just talking about getting a computer here, and when I went to buy my computer, they were lost, and they said, "Hold on 1 second," and bought someone out from the back that could speak enough English to get it done. So
Mhm.
you don't get completely lost here if you don't speak Spanish, but definitely it is one of those countries that having a little bit of Spanish or working towards learning Spanish does help you a lot more than definitely Spain or a lot of parts of Mexico that are very tourist based.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's dive into, thanks for that. Let's go into,
And
do people want to know what groceries cost per month for you? So let's break down some of these costs per month to give them an idea of cost of living there. What do you pay
yeah,
per month, Brian, for groceries?
I'm paying about $50 a week for groceries.
Okay, so
I'm cooking probably I want to say at least 10 meals a week.
okay.
Um, and one of the things is my lunch almost every day is a 14 or 16 ounce ribeye steak, which I
Whoa.
go down. Yeah, so I go down the butcher. I get them to chop up 3 or 4 days worth of steaks, and I fry up a nice 1.5 inch ribeye every day. So that's probably my most expensive thing. Eggs and dairy are getting quite more expensive now
Hmm.
than what they were. There is a notice on that, and import goods have always been expensive,
Yeah.
but but I mean, the secret to grocery shopping here is they do have the larger malls or the larger supermarkets, but as I mentioned before, down here, bodega shopping is kind of you get to know you get to know where to buy the best of each thing, and you kind
Hmm.
of go to those places and spend a little extra time doing grocery shopping than zipping in at one store. So yeah, so I think for I'm a single guy, $50 a week is about what I'm spending.
All right, that's
Yeah.
okay, good information. All right, restaurants. How much
Yeah.
is a meal at a nice restaurant, or even like the Ma and Pa restaurant? What do you pay per meal, and how much you think you budget per month?
Yeah, so for the restaurants, the nice thing is, so if we're talking about getting, a main, a side, and a glass of wine, or sharing a bottle of wine with someone, you're probably looking at about $20 per person,
Hmm.
um, and going to the average place. But what I think is kind of nice is that when you go to somewhere a little bit nicer, you're hitting maybe $40, maybe 50, and then when you're hitting kind of the top restaurants, only about $100 per person, which when you're in New York City, if you're in Toronto, if you're anywhere and you start going to top restaurants, that can easily be $300 to $400 before you bat an eye.
Hmm.
So the elasticity here is pretty small, and so the pricing is pretty close across the board. Like an ojo de bife at a restaurant is might change by $10, but it's not where you go to the Outback Steakhouse and get it for this, and then you go to a steakhouse and it's now 10 times more expensive.
Yeah,
We don't necessarily have that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So I try to go out once or twice a week, not
Okay.
as much as I used to. I used to go, you know, twice a day. And I'm probably spending on average about $40 a meal myself.
Hmm. Okay.
Wine at a restaurant still really cheap. You get lots of great options if you're a wine drinker for about $10 to $15 for a bottle for a
Hmm.
decent bottle of wine at a restaurant.
Hmm.
Yeah, pasta's probably going to run you at a nice restaurant $15.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so it's still pretty cheap.
Yeah, yeah. And how about like a good bottle of Mendoza wine? What can you find? What can you find those for around Buenos Aires?
Yeah, so if you buy at the grocery store, you can there if you know if you're willing to, I'd say if you're willing to experiment, um and try some stuff out, there are great wines that you could buy in the grocery store for about $5 to $6
Okay.
for
Mhm.
a bottle. At a restaurant, $15 for a good bottle. Obviously they go a lot higher, but yeah,
Mhm.
if it's just your regular go-to one, it's still quite cheap.
Okay. All right, great. Good information. So, and
Yeah.
the one thing that the viewers may not know, but just
Mhm.
to let the viewers know, Argentina is known for steak. They are a
Yes.
big steak meat culture, and there's a lot of cattle. I think there I read somewhere where there's more cattle down in that region of the world, like
Yeah.
Paraguay, Argentina, Uruguay, and everybody eats steak because of it, and it's outstanding.
It is. It is absolutely outstanding. I have eaten steak all around the world. And I would say in Florence, their steak is probably the best, but not by much. Also, you're for that steak, you're also paying six, seven times as much money. It is relatively cheap here. It is abundant. They use the whole cow, so um, it's not just your New York strip, your filet and and ribeye. Um, they do asados where they take the kind of the leaner cuts, the smaller cuts, stuff like that,
Hmm.
and then just cook it over a wood fire kind of thing, and
Hmm.
just have a barbecue out with everybody. Yeah, there's restaurants that you go to, and for $40 you get um, a smorgasbord of just endless meats to
Yeah,
kind of go from.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they love it here.
Yeah. And don't fret if you're a person who doesn't eat meat, right? Because you
Yeah,
got a highly Italian culture down there. It has pasta probably on every corner. You probably get the
yeah,
salad and the pastas and a variety of
lots of yeah. There's vegetarian, quite a few vegetarian restaurants here that are rated quite high.
yeah.
So there are tons of options. What I do say though is if you're a vegan, here would be a little bit difficult. They just don't have a vegan culture.
Mhm.
So getting vegan pasta, getting vegan options would be more difficult.
A little more challenging.
Not saying it's possible, but a
Right.
vegetarian definitely. There's lots of options.
Okay. All right. So, okay, thanks for that. Now let's dive into and let's look at entertainment. Okay, Buenos
Yes.
Aires is the Paris of the South, they call it. There's a lot
Yes.
to do there. It's like New York City. You could probably walk around a different corner and make a new discovery every day.
Yeah.
What do people do in Argentina for fun? What do you do there?
Yeah, I mean, for the art lover, there's definitely heritage here. There are museums, there's the church. People like to go to the cemetery. There is a lot to do. There is an active theater district. There's a big tango thing, live music. I mean, I go to one jazz bar, and for $10, we pick up a 2 hour thing of jazz. My
Mm.
friend has, 2 or 3 times a month, just a jazz band come in and play for an hour and a half at his. Argentinians here, I mean, the big thing here is they tend to eat late. So dinner, 9:30, 10 o'clock is pretty normal to meet friends and have dinner. So going out, doing that, having drinks is a really big thing. During the day, for when it comes to city parks, the city is loaded with really immaculate
Hmm.
well maintained, well designed city parks. So going and hang around the parks during the day is a big thing. Either catching some sun, reading, playing with the dog.
Hmm.
There's always markets going on, like little weekend markets that are happening. So yeah, there's definitely a drive a little bit for the outside
Hmm.
kind of world, quite a bit. And yeah, it's but it's not a like going to the movie theater here is not a big thing.
Hmm.
Like I do not think that Marvel is worried about what Argentina is doing for the box office sales. It's just not. It's not as big of a thing. With my girlfriend, I think like maybe once a year we went to a movie kind of thing.
Hmm.
Sports bars aren't a really big thing here. Okay, when La Boca and River are playing, the streets are lined up for a
Yeah.
game everywhere. But you're sitting in a dark bar watching hockey or a football games, and it's not as big of a thing here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very more social kind of activities.
Brian, where is the big
Yeah.
soccer stadium in Buenos Aires?
I want to say it's towards an area called Nuez.
Okay. What does it cost to go see a game if you want to go see a soccer game there?
It can be really cheap. If you're going for the big games, I think I've been told $200 for a ticket.
Do they have professional games in this main stadium that you could go and they have affordable tickets?
Yeah, I mean it has a very English style where there's you have your Premier League, you have all your different leagues and different clubs playing in it. So
Okay.
they're still professional teams. They're just not going to be the team the teams aren't going to be spoken by ESPN kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. And how about like theater, dance? I'm guessing in Buenos Aires they have to have a professional dance company there and a theater company and all kinds of galleries, I would think.
Yeah, the biggest thing is tango here, obviously, and tango shows are abundant that you can go to. It's usually like a tango and a dinner show.
Hmm.
Um, there is a big theater district, lots of things, bands, traveling performers, local stuff. There is, yeah, there's if you look like it's not one, it's I guess it's one of those things where it isn't really well advertised, but it's
Hmm.
not hard to find.
Yeah.
It's if you're in Broadway, if you're in New York and you've got Broadway, that's the thing that you know about. You know the big shows, you know what's coming. Whereas here, I don't think they advertise it as much. Not hard to find though. A simple Google search, pass by the theater,
Hmm.
it's all there. And tickets. I one event we went to in the main theater. I can't remember. It was for a show, like a Spanish band. I want to say it was probably about $25.
Okay. So what do you think if you had to give us an idea, what you would average per month, doing entertainment, going out, participating? You said you pay $10 for jazz. What do you think you budget per month?
Um, for all of my entertainment, I'm budgeting about $600 a month.
Okay.
But that's going out for dinner. That's meeting people for drinks,
Okay.
cabs,
Yeah, I'm
stuff like
just
that.
I'm just referring to
Yeah,
like theater or maybe a game, a soccer game, or because I keep the restaurants and that separate.
yeah,
So if you go to jazz and you listen to a jazz band, you pay a certain amount of money, or you
yeah.
go to the theater, you pay 25. How much would you say you budget for that?
I mean, personally, I don't budget at all. But I would say the average person, the I would say if you put $100 a month into your budget, I
You're
think that
fine.
would be enough to go, yeah, to go to a dinner, go to a thing, do something different.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so let's talk about transportation. How do people get around um, Buenos Aires? Do they have monthly passes that people can buy that rely solely on the public transportation system? What is it? A metro, tram,
Yeah.
bus system? What can you share on that?
Yeah, so there's a train system, there's a subway system, and then there's the bus system. All of them work off of the same prepaid card.
Okay.
It's called a soupe, and yeah, and that's what you use, and you just kind of top it up as you need to. The subway is they're all fixed rate rides, so it's not per station, it's just on off. I think the subway now, and when we were talking about a year ago, I believe it was only 16 cents or 8 cents, and now it's more like $1.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so it's really gone up. Um, and then yeah, and oops and cabs, yellow cabs are really big here. You see them everywhere. Uber is really big here.
Mhm.
To take a cab or an Uber, they're pretty close to the same price. I'm spending about $4 to $6
Okay.
to do about a 20-minute cab ride.
That's actually cheap for 20 minutes. Do they have any kind of like
Yeah,
monthly tickets or monthly passes that people can buy for the bus and metro or no?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think you just at least everyone I know has to pay kind of as they do it.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that. And the last thing we have, Brian, is healthcare.
Yeah.
The viewers are always
Yeah.
interested in what the healthcare system is like and is it affordable? How do you access it?
Yeah. So there's the hospitals kind of come under private hospitals and public hospitals. Right now, the public hospitals are free for foreigners, but there is talk about making it non-accessible to foreigners unless you pay.
Hmm.
What I would say is that the public hospitals are just generally swamped, so most people go to a private hospital. Last time I went was about 2 years ago, so my numbers might be out of date, but a visit in the ER, plus getting X-rays, plus medication, came to about $50
Okay. Oh,
for all of that.
yeah. So you just,
So basically, you can buy private healthcare here. Swiss Medical is one of the companies. There's a few of them. Uh, I've been quoted numbers from friends that have done it around 500 a year. But then again, that comes down to dependence, health, history, age, all those factors.
hmm
And then the other thing that you can do, which I do, is I buy a nomad insurance. So basically, that is it was 900 Canadian a year, so that would be say 700 American, probably roughly
who do you get
for
that
the
through?
year. I went to mine's to a nomad company, and I think it was called Nomad Health.
Okay.
But what that covers is I'll try and find the link and send it to you. But what that covers is all my big things. So if I were in a coma and I have a 3 month hospital bill when I wake up,
Hmm.
if I need to be sent back to Canada for special treatment, it covers that.
I
So
see.
it's covering it's covering up to that $1 million major stuff. So it's not used for the small incidentals.
So can you access the public healthcare system in Argentina if you got hurt and you're hospitalized? I
Yeah,
mean, okay,
yeah.
and so you wouldn't have to pay anything for that.
No, right now my understanding is on the public system you don't have to pay anything,
Hmm.
but they want to change that, and so that's my. I've always went the private route,
Okay.
and it's just when I go to the private hospital, I'm seen by a doctor in 30 minutes. You go to the public one, and it's like a triage, and they say maybe 8 hours, maybe tomorrow, kind
Hmm.
of thing, depending on how they are. So, with the advantage of, I'll spend the $50 to get an X-ray and see a doctor.
Yeah. Okay. And do you go to the dentist there as well? And
Yeah, I got a wisdom tooth yanked about 6 7 months ago. It cost me about $100 to do
okay.
that.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
and depending on the healthcare, I don't want to say what is and isn't in the private healthcare that you can buy here because every package can be different, and I'm
Sure.
sure there's many of them that have dental in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, Brian, that's
thanks.
everything. We've covered everything. Is there anything else
Yeah.
you can think of that we didn't discuss that could be beneficial to the viewers that are considering moving to Argentina?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing that you'd say to any city. I mean, come and give it a try. Don't sell everything and come down and move here right away. You can't come here for 3 months. You can stay a lot longer. It's like every city. What I would say is to like a lot of people that have been looking at the price of Argentina over the past couple years until now. It was kind of looked at as this haven of the same thing as what people look at Da Nang or they look at Thailand at of I come with $500-600 a month and I can get by. It's not that anymore. But what this city has become is just bang for your buck. I mean, if you're coming with $1,500 a month, you're
Mm.
doing well here. If you can come with $2,200 a month, you're living great, much better
Yeah.
than you probably could in most US or Canadian cities right now. So I
Mhm.
think that's where the value of this place is becoming. And it's also becoming more westernized quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Since the past 3 years, like a lot more English, a lot more Western influence. So yeah, so you're not having to come to the city and basically upheal your entire life
Hmm.
and change all your patterns and your what you prefer to be here and be happy.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Brian McQuay, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to
Anytime. Thank
share
you.
all of this information. I truly appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. And
Okay.
we'll be seeing you in about 6 months, right?
I hope to
Down
get
in
down there in about
upstate.
6 months, yeah, to see you. So look forward to that. All right. Well, you have a good rest of the day, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much.